We like to surround ourselves with a lot of really good people.
Yeah, and what is your reward? So we've gotten past hump day. We're getting toward the end of the week, and so there should be some reward given. And, of course, here on Morning Offering, the reward that is given is time with Matthew. What? Who wrote that? It's time with Matthew Archbold. It is what we call our Thursday reward. Good morning to you, sir.
What's on your mind today?
Yeah.
I like how Ron's saying we surround ourselves with good people. But now, we're going to have
That's coming up a little later in the program.
Phrasing was a little off there, yeah.
You know, Matthew, the scripture says that a long life is a blessed life. And so, of course, we see the value in a long life. Putin and Xi, they're thinking maybe a little longer than most.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that. So they were together and just casually, like two old buddies, like they're in the middle of a conversation, and they're talking about how they think in the very near term that they can start living to something like 150, 170 because they have an opportunity to have constant organ transplants given to them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Just weird.
Hasn't China been like known for illegal organ harvesting? Some of the things I've been reading.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
They take prisoners and we're talking about political prisoners too.
Yeah.
And so many of those political prisoners, as you know, are because of their faith. You know,
Right.
a lot of times their faith will lead them to say, "Hey, you know, there's something wrong here."
Yeah.
And that seems to be what governments don't like, when you have a reality to stand on, when you see objective truth, and then you can promulgate that truth. That seems to be what they don't like. But it is so funny to me, you know, when you see, you know, these terrible despots and tyrants talking like this, and it's all in that quest to live forever. And every Christian knows that all you need to do is love God
Yeah.
to live forever. But instead, the quest for that without God becomes a nightmare.
Yeah.
No, the seeking to live forever as a Christian is the most beautiful thing you can do. Without God, it becomes the most nightmarish scenario in the world, where you're dragging people into surgical rooms and tearing literally their lifeblood from them. Yeah. And it just shows you, without God, really, everything goes wrong. And I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but I'm so focused on it in my own life, I guess it just comes out that the first commandment is the first commandment for a reason. Unless everything goes through God, it's just, you're going to mess up. You know, I can't be a good husband, I can't be a good father unless I'm doing it through God, because otherwise, left to my own devices, I will mess it up. I can guarantee that.
Well, and look, we're looking forward to, as you said, this perfect eternity with God, right? And we want as many people to be there as possible. Anyone who will say yes, we want a bunch of them to be there with us, and it doesn't take anything away from us when their eternity is perfect too. These guys are making it pretty clear. I want this world perfect for me. Doesn't matter what it costs someone else for me to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's that distinction. You know, to bring it here, there's something funny happened yesterday. Senator Tim Kaine, remember him? He was a vice presidential candidate, not that long ago. It's funny how they're so prominent for a little bit, and then all of a sudden they just fade into obscurity in our memory.
That's the hope.
Oh my goodness, that's good.
That's them all fade that quickly,
quick.
right?
Yeah.
But he said yesterday in the Senate that rights don't come from God, and he found it offensive that people say that rights come from God. He said that reminds him of Iran, which is obviously to him that's a terrible insult. You know, that anyone would mention God. And Ted Cruz went off on him. But think about that. You know, he sees rights as not something given to you by God, but by him. Something you didn't have it before, you have it now because he, the government, and guys like him, they saw fit to give it to you, and that is the ultimate lie. That a baby born screaming and helpless has no rights, not until some committee meets or a bill is passed, or some guy in a robe says, "Oh yeah, we can grant that right," but that's not what a right is. And it's not a grant. You don't ask for it. You don't earn it. It's a thing you have simply by being, and that's the whole point. And that's what they're missing, and that's a terrible, terrible thing to miss. Because if it's not from God, it's from the government, and then if the government can give it, it can also take it away.
Take it away, exactly.
I mean, you'd love for him to read the scriptures, but maybe he could just start with the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution. I'm not sure he could start with any of the Founding Fathers documents, and he could see what we were thinking.
And the sad thing is, he's Catholic.
Oh my goodness!
He claims to be a Roman Catholic.
Gosh. I forgot. Yeah. I forgot about that. So many of them. Yeah. So many of them do that you don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah. Well, because their stands are so antithetical to what we believe that it's. How do you kind of say how are you Catholic? I mean, how does that? But yeah, he is. It's a sad thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think I was reading. I love your page. But you talked about objective truth, which is something I'm always talking about. And you talk about that when the coward admits to being cowards. I heard that story, too, that Malcolm Gladwell came out and said that he was sorry that he didn't stand up in this battle of, transgenderism in sports. And I like the way you talk about courage in this article. Matt, it's wonderful.
Well, it's funny in that the way he says it, it's just like, oh, of course I was cowed into saying that. There would have been consequences for me, Right. And it's just, well, that's what truth demands of us, that there are consequences, but the sad fact is courage is rare. And we have found that out in this modern world. And, you think you know what it is. It's a feeling like, oh, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to do it. But it has to be based on something. It has to be based on another conviction. You have to have something to stand on, a foundation, in order to push that other thing away. But the fact is so many people don't have that foundation, so that they don't have anything to push with, and we always have a good. On us.
Yeah, and we always have a good reason for not being courageous too, right? I mean, like, well, I can't lose my livelihood, or I can't, we've always got all these reasons why we can't do sometimes what the Lord is asking of us, or stand up for the truth, because we're, there's always something, what we think might be a higher good at play here.
Right. Say to yourself, I'm the breadwinner of this family. I can't stand up for some truth because but that's the thing. Unless you push it through God, now your sole responsibility is to your wife and your family. It has to be through God first, and then your responsibility is to your wife and your family, and then you can make a sound judgment on what fight to fight.
Hey, I wanted to say this. I don't like sharing listener criticisms on the air, but one of our listeners wrote in and said that you are far too erudite on the air. And I think that means, I'm just guessing, I think it means you breathe too hard into the mic. And so I circled back to her and I said, I'm sorry that he's too erudite. What about me? She said, oh, no problem with you at all. Definitely not too erudite. And I thought, well, okay, so my presentation's fine.